Hey, what's up guys? John here. We're stepping into a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This is going to be epic, absolutely epic. We're starting to see things kind of fall apart slowly in the stock market. We're starting to see more hesitancy, especially in crypto. Real estate, we're starting to see a little bit more pullback. We're seeing mortgage brokers being laid off on mass scale with Wells Fargo and other companies. We're starting to see interest rates continue to creep up. We're seeing some very unique things. And I think what is going to happen is I think we're going to start to see this massive wealth transfer unfold over the next couple months to next 5 years. It's going to slowly just get worse and worse and worse. But there's going to be a massive opportunity, a huge opportunity to make a life-changing amount of money. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what I think is going to happen. So what happened so far the last 2 years? We saw very low interest rates, and with these low interest rates, people just ran out there buying every single property that they possibly could. We saw home appreciation between 20 and 30%, in some markets even more. We saw insane price wars on properties, bidding wars, 20, 30 offers on a property. We're seeing rents jump 20, 30, 40% inside of a year. It's nuts. But what I think is ultimately going to happen is a little bit of what we've seen in the past. So in the past, we did the universal basic income, i.e. stimulus, and the unemployment benefits and PPP loans and all these different benefits, right? Now, what I think is ultimately going to happen, they're already talking about rolling out a universal basic income in about 24 different cities. What I think is going to happen is I think as inflation continues to pick up like this, they're going to have no choice but to print more money. They will have no choice. Because if a typical American is making, let's say, $33,000 or $35,000 per year, it's about $2,800 a month. $2,800 a month. So taking a 30% price cut, 30% wage cut, just due to inflation, that is substantial. And when you equate that across the field, there's no way that they do not print more money. They do not issue universal basic incomes and stimuluses and all these different programs. I just think that there might be some requirements for them. There might be some, certain restrictions and things that you have to meet to actually get the universal basic income. But I do think ultimately they're going to be, it's going to happen, no doubt about it. It's eventually going to happen. Elon Musk talked about it, Jack Dorsey, Zuckerberg, all these people talked about it years ago, saying that there's no doubt that universal basic income is going to be coming, right? And so what I think is going to happen is if you look at what's happening right now with hedge funds, they are receiving more capital than they've seen since 2015. And what happens generally? Smart people, generally, the money flows straight to them every time. You could basically take all the wealth in the world, if you put all the same people back on a blank canvas and just gave them knowledge, I could almost guarantee that 80% of the money or 85% of the money would flow back to the same people that have the money today. And so if we step into the situation, hedge funds, they're receiving so much capital and they're going to print all of this money, what's ultimately going to happen is the money is likely going to continue to flow to these hedge funds. And if the money's flowing to these hedge funds, what are they going to do? They're going to do what they've always done. Allocate the capital into businesses, into real estate, into land, into infrastructure. That's what they're going to do. And when they can do that, then they can control those industries. I believe that is definitely 100% going to happen. But what I think is going to be a unique paradigm shift is a couple of things that we've just recently seen. So we've been on this 0% interest, basically 0% rates for forever. And this is going to change. We're already starting to see it. 6%, 7% interest rates, depending on your credit score, of course. And they're talking about a 50 basis point hike. As we continue stepping into this direction, what's ultimately going to happen is a lot of people that have consumer debt, and there's a lot of consumer debt out there right now, $1 trillion in credit card debt, $1.7 trillion in student loan debt, $1.6 trillion in auto loan debt. What's going to happen is the cost to service this debt is going to get more expensive, as I've said before. So what then is going to happen is there's going to be distress in the market. There's inflation, massive inflation, and an affordability crisis, and heavy debt loads. And then we have this whole new change that's going to come to the real estate market, I would say over the next couple years, which is going to be this electrification, which I've covered here on this channel, where the White House said that there's going to be 33 different cities and states that are going to be, starting out with this electrification, where they're going to basically take these properties off fossil fuels. There's another company out there called Block Power that is trying to take off properties from fossil fuels. There's many, many companies that are doing this, and it's not the cheapest thing in the world, trust me. From the research I've done, it's between like 70, if you did it, last year, between $70,000 and $80,000, I think it was like 2 years ago. So now it might be a little over 100 grand to electrify one single property. If there's massive debt on these properties already because they're buying them at record prices, how are people going to be able to afford it when everything else is continuing to rise and wages are only increasing by 3.5%? I think that we're going to have an affordability crisis. That's what I believe. But with all that said, fortunes are made when there's blood in the streets. On this channel, I talk about personal finance, real estate, business, and money. We have no other option. The option is we do nothing and we just let things happen, or we make things happen and protect and provide for ourselves and our family. That's what I talk about here on this channel. I believe the smartest industries to be in are real estate. If you pick the right assets, the right business plan, you have the right strategy, you've done your homework, you have the right partners. If you have to have a lot of the right things, almost all the right things on your side, and that will work out very well. Tech is going to be a really, really big industry. There's so many engineering, even outsourcing work and jobs. All this is going to be very, very big, especially over the next 5 years, where people are running their online businesses and they're using Upwork and they're using all these different platforms. But running new businesses and coming out with strategies and solutions to problems that our people are going to have over the next couple of years, and starting to work on these problems today, these businesses today, and reverse engineering those problems and being the solution for these people, that is going to be a big opportunity. What I think is ultimately going to be unique, though, is over the last couple of years, we've seen so much confidence in the stock market, so much confidence in crypto, so much confidence in all these different industries. Once we start, and we're already kind of seeing it now in stocks and crypto, once we start to really see blood hit, we're going to start to see a real big pullback on discretionary spending. We're going to see a very big pullback on discretionary spending. And I think people are only going to really spend money on things they need. That's what I think is going to happen. Now, I do believe we're going to see a lot of industries also change and get completely wiped out of the next couple of years. There's a few that I think are going to be first, which is probably going to be a lot of service-based jobs. They're going to try to outsource as many of them as they possibly can. Robotics and technology are going to play a very big role the next 4 to 5 years. And continuing onward, I think Elon Musk, his Tesla bot's going to be coming out next year. Probably won't really be a problem for 3 or 4 or 5 years maybe. But a lot of these new tech advances are going to be coming, no doubt about it. So rather than pretending that they're not going to be here, they're never coming, smart thing is right now just looking at the core facts, the core fundamentals. You got 320 million people, 326 million people in America. You have 60% of which have a credit score under 700. We have extreme cost. Inflation is brutal right now, and they said it's going to get a lot worse. And they said that is going to happen until 2024 at the current trajectory. So things are going to get more and more expensive. And so as this all happens, what's ultimately going to happen is businesses and corporations are going to be more inclined to bring in tech and to outsource because they simply can't keep up and pay a livable wage when livable wages might be $50 an hour in a year or 2 years. And they can go out there, I think Elon's Tesla bot was like 10 grand or 15 grand. It was very, very inexpensive was what they wanted to start with an entry level, right? And so rather than just waiting for all this, build out the businesses now, build out the strategies now, work on them right now so that as everything is changing, you are putting yourself in a better and better and better position because the more money you have, the more opportunities you have, the better off your family is going to be. That's ultimately all it comes down to. We all know the writing on the wall. We all know what's actually going on, but it's up to us. It's up to us to really come up with the best strategies, the best investment plans. I do think if you have a unique competitive advantage, maybe it is crypto, maybe it's stocks, maybe it's real estate, whatever it is, maybe it is your business, but hedge funds, raising money, I think is going to be one of the easiest ways to make a ton of money over the next few years. I think it's going to be a huge opportunity, mainly because all this distress is going to start to come to a head. And when there's distress in the market, supply and demand kind of determine price. So if there's so much distress, which is the supply, and there's very little demand, which is actual buyers, only institutional buyers and maybe some small buyers, but there's going to be a lot less demand and a lot more supply, prices are going to be coming down, most likely in most industries, which is going to afford an opportunity for the smart and aspiring entrepreneur. What do you think? Where do you see things going in the next couple of years? Where do you see the big opportunity? And what's your plan? Drop below. Let's have a conversation about this. Hit the like button. When you hit the like button, YouTube's going to share this content to educate more people Subscribe also on my second channel. It's going to be a podcast starting May 4th. Second channel is linked down below. Also on TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram. Everything's in the banner. Catch you guys later.